This is a 580 cubic inch Wedge motor that was sent to justmoparjoe to find out what's wrong with it. We'll go over the block first. This is a Bulldog block, aftermarket block, made by that guy over by Knoxville. He made some of these, and he made some in aluminum. They look heavy, I can say that. The casting is very nice when you look at it. My gosh, look how thick those webs are there. If you blow this thing up, you must be a better man than I am. It's really, really built heavy. When I take this off and put it in the hone, I will weigh it and we'll see where we're at. It looks to me to be heavier than a Mega Block, which is about 295, the Calis and the Mega Blocks. But this block project, this guy didn't make many of these. And then I think Jason Line took this project over, made a few changes. But I think he gave up on that idea, and it has since been taken over by Kent Ritter, I believe. I believe that's the same tooling that he's going to use. And it was over a year ago where I saw an interview where he had already made some wedges, and he was getting, he said once they get everything dialed in, he's going to start making some Hemi blocks. But I haven't heard anything out. He doesn't have a website or anything, but hopefully we'll hear more about that. As you can see, the casting itself, like the Calis and like the World products before it, has provisions where it can be machined as a Hemi. So this is where you'd have the Hemi motor brackets. So it can go either way, you know, once you make the raw casting. But the whole thing looks good. You know, you worry a little bit about, I do anyway, about it not coming from Mom Opar, because I feel her stuff is right as far as the casting and machining. But this guy has, the owner of this engine, it's been a problem child since he started this project. It was first built by Muscle Motors, which I've only heard good things about. I thought everybody liked them. I've read their builds. I've read their, seen their dyno tests and stuff like that. I mean, I was kind of impressed. But I don't know what was wrong with it when he got it from them, but there was something wrong. I think he took it to somebody else to have them go through it, and then he still wasn't happy, and he took it to a Chevy builder last time, and what was it? No oil pressure, 25 pounds of oil pressure. And I'll show you that. If you haven't watched Joe's video on that, it's really interesting. But so Joe's job is to find out what's wrong, put it back together where he can use it. I don't think it's ever been in the car. I don't think it's ever made a pass. I think he's just had nothing but problems. It's kind of sad. So all Joe brought it down here. What he wants me to do is check out the line bore. The main bearings look terrible, and we're trying to figure out why it didn't have any thrust, but I think we figured that out. But the main thing is the main bearings look so bad. And of course the 25 pounds of oil pressure. But I think the first thing to do is, let me show you about this oil pressure situation, in case you haven't seen that already. Joe did a slow and methodical teardown of this engine, looking at every single piece as it came apart and checking everything. And once he got down here, he saw this plug. This goes to the lifter galley on this particular block. And see that brass one down there? That one is the one that comes out of the other lifter galley. They both had big round holes in the middle of them, and were just gushing oil. I have no idea how that happened, why that happened. Did that last builder do it? Why would it be that way? So he sticks a primer tool in it and runs the oil pump, and gallons of oil are coming out. Gallons. So he plugged both of these, and voila. Well, first he plugged one, and it got up to about 40 pounds or so, and then he plugged the other one. I think he got up to about 70 pounds. But, so I feel he's fixed the real problem. Now, we still have this issue about why the main bearings look so bad, and we're going to try to figure that out. But I think that he's fixed the major portion of it. Now, there's some cylinder issues, and we'll talk about that later, that for some reason it's been stored for a few years, and while he thinks about what to do with it, and it got water in it, and the rusted the cylinders, and they looked kind of bad, and Joe was all upset about it. Some of the rings were stuck because they were rusted, the second ring. So it looked like a disaster, but I think it's nothing. I think it just needs cleaned up. I told him to chemically remove that rust, because I think the hone job looks good to me. It's never been in the car. It's only had a dyno run on it. It's only been dynoed, as far as I know. So I think everything's going to be fine. I think Joe has fixed the main problem, and I think now it's just check everything out and put it back together. So all I'm going to do is what you would do to prep for a line hone. I'm hoping it doesn't need it, but so we're going to fit the caps and get some measurements on this and make sure everything's good. I don't know how 3 builders could look at it and the line not be right, but we'll look at it. So all I'm going to do is kind of dress up the sharp edges here, make sure the cap's not sitting up on some kind of burr, kind of go over this a little bit, just lightly, to see if there's any high spots or anything. You probably ought to hit that little corner right there lightly, just to make sure there's not a loose piece of metal close by there, that when you put the cap on, that it's going to get underneath the cap and mess up all your readings. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to just barely deburr these, make sure there's nothing there, run the file over it this way. See, I feel something on that. Right over here, this edge over here, sticking up, you can feel it. So I'll just take that little burr off there so I can't feel it. And I'll do the same to the caps. You're not trying to remove any metal here. You're just trying to make sure there's nothing. May I see that little burr right there sticking up all the way across? Now, we don't know for a fact that the cap actually sits there, but we don't want it. If the cap hangs over that way it would hold it up. So I'll clean up all of this, make sure it's good. I'll clean up the caps, make sure they're good. Then put them on, torque them down, and we'll get some readings on this line and make sure it's okay. Okay, here we go. I've got everything set up. I've got this set on the 0 is the high side of spec, 2.943, and so we need 0, or we got a half a thou to play with. So if it's half a thou less than that, you're still in spec. So let's check it out. You know, I really don't want to line home something. I'm just an old man that likes to come out and piddle. I really wasn't looking to get into a bunch of work. Wow. Looks like you're about 7/10 too big. Wow, that's terrible. That's number 5. 8/10 too big. Well, at least they're close. 8/10 too big. 6/10 too big. 7/10. You gotta give them credit for being close. 9/10. What I'm measuring on both sides of the oil hole, you know, trying to get an idea. 9/10. I can already feel this work coming on. This is a tragedy. Oh, 1.2, really? Really? Gosh, give me a better number. No? 1.3, 1.2. Well, it looks like this has turned into a job. Oh boy. I guess I'll set it up to get ready to line hone then. Joe, what did you bring me?